Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to watch football, not get married. What are we doing here?
I've gotten a lot of baby powder. People like, man, what'd you get out of baby powder for? I think I'm going to have to smack the hell out of a lot of people this year. I just can feel it.
Hold on. The only thing you should be getting married to in the fall is football.
Football, indeed. I love it. It's no weddings in the fall. And it is just me and Ben Troupe tonight. But Commissioner Cooper, he's out there getting his fright on. He's out there at the House of Horrors.
He out there screaming real loud. I hope his wife videotaped him, because I'm like, Jason, you ain't fooling me, bro. Jason didn't want to go, but his wife, I got a ticket. All right. Listen, House of Horrors, I've never been to it in Orlando, but I've heard about it. And I am, and now everything is viral. They film everything. I'm not gonna have my grown self up in there screaming. Men can scream louder than women. We scared. We burst somebody's eardrum. I'm not. Jason, just enjoy yourself, but just know they got some cameras out there, so I'm gonna be asking his wife for the footage. She's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I ain't get scared." I'm like, "Boy, they got you out there screaming, clutching your pearls and everything." So enjoy it.
It's just like the roller coaster. They catch that one moment where you're like,
yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't know that. My senior year of college, we went to the Outback Bowl my last 2 years, and the second year we went to Busch Gardens. I didn't really get on no rides my junior year. And my senior year, I'm not even a roller coaster person. And we walking, and I didn't realize we were in a line at a certain point. And all of a sudden, they was like, I see this thing, put it, all right, everybody get in. I'm like, and I'm at the very, how I'm at the very front. You know how like you're on a roller coaster, you got the person at the very front. So I'm like, it's going, I'm like, so we get them like, Troupe, get on. I'm like, all right, knowing I'm not a roller coaster person. I'm like, God damn, I got to get on this roller coaster, man. I can't just walk out. I can't lie. I got to go to the bathroom. I couldn't lie. So I got on. And I'm trying to hold this crazy little face the whole time. I'm trying not to really show. So we get off the ride, Justin, and I go, oh, shoot, they had a camera. They had a camera on there. So I'm looking, and mind you, everybody talking trash. Now, everybody behind, oh, no, I wasn't scared. That wasn't me screaming or whatever. And then they got all these freeze frames. I'm like, some of y'all got some explaining to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's I can only imagine a horror nights in Orlando to where you got paid demons and goblins and goons. I ain't got somebody grabbing at my leg. No, bro, I ain't got time for all that, man. Nope.
And it's always the guys that are jumping out, and then every once in a while they get like a little person in there, a little like midget.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck? Where'd you come from?
I'm 6'5", but I'll dive with a little person. Like I said, hey bro, listen. I said, listen, bro, don't let me be the one you want to run out, because I'm gonna tackle you. I'm a Brian Urlacher you up in there. I'm gonna Ray Lewis you, and I ain't gonna feel bad about it. I'm like, hey man, he scared me, man. He like, that's the point. I'm like, yeah, but I don't need him crawling on. He already too low to the ground to be crawling on all fours. Get your behind up and just walk regular, little boy.
Ben said, I am not afraid to Derrick Henry, a little man.
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, we live in a world people are always talking about equality. Listen, equal rights, equal lefts, equal dives. I will dive on a little person, and I wouldn't feel. Look, I'm gonna apologize. Now, if I see him later, I'm saying, man, was that you? Like later, early? Yeah, that was me, man. I apologize. I really don't apologize, but my lady told me if you see him, apologize to him. I said, well, is that? I'm gonna ask him. That's him. I'm not the person to ruin people's fun, but there are people that love like scary houses. I'm not that dude. Like, I'm not trying to mess up nobody's fun, but you can only imagine what horror nights gonna be in Orlando. This is like the Super Bowl of horror nights. They're gonna be. They got makeup on it. I mean, you walk in, you might say, welcome to, bruh, tell from the crib. I don't need none of that from you right now. I'm trying to get in and get out. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to the commissioner. I guarantee you he was dreading this. He was like, God, I got to go. He was like, no, I got to do the show. I got tickets, Jason. All right, let's go. But he could probably, Jason live down there in Florida, so You know what it is.
She pulled the family card. She said, "All right, man, you got to get out with the family tonight."
Well, she showed him that receipt. You see how much I paid for these tickets?
Yeah,
you better get on up. So.
Did you hear what he said? He said VIP too. So you know
so they're gonna be drinking like green, like drinks and all that.
Brain juice, right?
Also, he gotta take pictures. He might. Whoa! Did Jason have to wear a costume to go? I mean, is Jason not telling us? You know what? Next week's show, before we get, I'm like, Jay, you gonna tell us? No. Where the pictures at? Y'all take everywhere y'all go. When y'all in Philly, Maui, you're on a bunch of trips. Where the Halloween pics at, Jay? I want to see them. Just saying. I
want to see the family photo. You better all be dressed up. It would better be
choreographed. They like this. They coming in, got to take with the little backdrop. You know what I'm saying? I like it.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Oh man, Ben. Well, I want to say how you doing, but I already freaking know you're doing great, man. You're already on fire right now. Yeah. But what a week in college football, man. I gotta tell you, I doubled down on it. I said Indiana by 10.
Yeah.
And well, lo and behold, Indiana by 10. Ben, I want to go out with this real quick. I just want to pose a couple questions for you real quick. Couple questions. One about the program and one about the so-called number one overall pick. Oregon. Are you going to be surprised if they don't make the playoffs?
I will be. And the reason why I will be is this. I think for Oregon, they have become one of the best regular season teams you've seen. Dan Lanning has done an incredible job since he's been there. But now we want to see, do they have staying power? Because here's the thing, Justin. If Indiana has opened up the secret formula to beating Oregon, saying, hey, this is how you beat them. Not saying everybody's going to have Coach Cignetti's, persona and, what his team brings. But is Dan Lanning a really, really good coach that has the ability to be great? You got to win it all. Sorry, man. Like, you just have to do it. Or is he just a really, really good coach at Oregon? That is he gonna take on the persona of James Franklin at Penn State? You good, but not great. You can win some games, you can't win the big one. And unfortunately, for certain coaches, that's the environment that you put yourself in. That's the class you put yourself in. Oregon has elevated itself at the right time. We talk about NIL era, we talk about social media, we talk about exposure, we talk about so many eyes and ears on you. But is Oregon a team, or is Oregon a team that gets beat by the team? So I'm going to be watching, because Oregon is never going to lack quarterback play. And the greatest thing that happened to Dan Lanning when he went to Oregon is Bo Nix. When you get a guy like Bo Nix that come over from Auburn, and you see the type of career he's having right now in the NFL, those type of things help you bring in the next quarterback. And then you talk about a Dylan Gabriel, and then you look at the guy that. So I don't think this is going to be the end of Oregon. I want to see if Oregon has Ohio State momentum after a loss, because everybody knows this. If Ohio State loses, they're not going to lose many after they lose. Mm-hmm. So I mean, everybody going to talk about NIU in 2024. That propelled them to the next. But no, I'm sorry, that wasn't Ohio State. That was Notre Dame. But I think that for this Oregon team, Dan Lanning, no matter what you say, you have a lot to say when you win it, don't you? You have a lot to say. But when you lose, which I get it, the post-game press conference when you lose is going to be different than when you win. But Coach Cignetti, he's talking trash, period. I don't care. We are Indiana. We are a basketball school. We are not a football school. Our greatest player is Antoine Randall L. It is not Michael Penix, for people that thought that. It is Antoine Randall L. Just check Antoine Randall L. stats when he was in Indiana. But if you are Indiana, are you becoming a team that nobody wants to play? Talk trash about them. You don't want to see them on Saturday. I don't think you want to play Indiana right now. And that's what I like the most about college football is everybody. What did Heath Ledger say? May he rest in peace, when he was a Joker on Batman Begins, when he said nothing. He said nobody cares if as long as everything goes to plan. Right. Nobody cares. But then something goes off. Wait a minute, this ain't a part of the plan. Indiana is not a part of the plan, people. But then guess what? They wrote their name in. Give me that pencil. What you doing? I'm writing our name. Why? Because we're going to be there. Mm-hmm. I mean, Coach Cignetti right now has lost 2 games since he's 17. Man, he's won every way he's been. And with all these coaches getting fired, Who you think they're going to be going after? The names at the top of the list are going to be James Franklin. Obviously, Coach Signetti. He's going to be on there, and Lane Kiffin. Watch and see. They're gonna throw the book at him, and we talking about $100 million coaches, no matter where they end up. But hey, man, shout out to Indiana, man. They find a way to get it done.
Indiana was so impressive, and I'll tell you what, the running back Roman Hemby used to be at Maryland, and he was good at Maryland, and then I didn't know what he was going to do at Indiana. Mm-hmm. Last week, that was his show. Taking it 2 touchdowns, he was big in that game. And you know what? I'll tell you this. Indiana surprised the hell out of me. They got a young quarterback there. But on the other side, like I said, I got a question for you on the top quarterback too, because this man's got some rep right now. A lot of people like him as the number 1 overall pick. But these are the games that analysts look back at and go, well, you know, he didn't really do too well there. Like, these are the situations when you throw 2 picks in a big game that, you know, people start to get nitpicky and go, does he really belong there where he's the number 1 overall pick? Ben, you have experience with this. You've played with a guy who's been a top 3 pick before. What do you look at when you look at these games? Do you look at the next game? Do you look at what their ability to get over it and fix their mistakes? Like, when you look back at these games, what are you really looking for from Dante Moore?
I'm looking at how he handles the adverse situation, because that's what he's gonna have to. That's what he's gonna have to do the most in the NFL. And I don't think it takes every single. Now I look at how many games you played and how you perform. In college, I need at least 20 games, because I want to know how you really play. If I don't know who you are after 20 games, I don't know football. You cannot hide. Now 10 games. Sample size, he can look really, really good, right? Why do I say that? Joe Burrow came from Ohio State. He transferred to LSU. His first year at LSU was not like 2018 was not like 2019. 2018, he wasn't even in consideration in being a first-round pick. How do I know? They came to the swamp. He threw a pick 6, and that's how Florida beat them in the swamp. Now 2019, with Marshall and Jefferson and Chase, you know, and those guys. You know, Clyde, Clyde and Larry and those guys, it was crazy. They had Randy Moss' son at tight end. They were loaded, right? But I got to see him grow from 2018 to 2019. Dante Moore, I don't want to see what you do against teams that you're better than, that teams that have inferior talent. I don't care about those games. I respect them. But it's like this. I look at football like boxing. It's not how many fights you had, it's who you fought. Who did you fight? Oh, okay. So Indiana was an opponent that could knock you out. They knocked you out. Now, that doesn't mean that Dante Moore is not a good player. That's how they're going to game plan him. They're going to game plan him to say, hey, the goal is to show you that you got to show me you're strong where you used to be weak at. Oh, we're going to keep attacking your weakness. It was said by Michael Irvin. The great Michael Irvin said the reason why I was the type of player I was this. He said, when I go against a DB, he says, I'm going to attack his weakness to beat him. I'm going to attack his strength to break him. So where he's weak at, that's how I'm going to beat him. But his strength is how I'm going to break him. That's football. So for Dante Moore, number 1, I don't want to call this a weak class this year, just because guys have not like Kubelik, Clemson. You talk about Norris in South Carolina. Yep. It's, obviously DJ Lagway and Arch Manning haven't been living up to the billing, even though neither one of them are 2026, 2027. Sometimes Dante Moore get to say, hey man, look at our track record as of late. Look at Bo Nix. I mean, we still gonna see what's up with Dylan Gabriel, right? I just want to be in line. I want to be the next in line, because all it takes is one quarterback to be good, and you'll get a bunch of them. You don't believe me? There are 4 quarterbacks from Alabama. All of them are playing right now in the National Football League. It is Jalen Hurts, it is Tua, it is Mac Jones, and it is Bryce. And that is literally how their quarterback room looked when they was at Alabama. It was in a row. Jalen obviously doing his thing with the Eagles. Tua, if he stopped doing post-game press conferences, I think he got a shot to be a really, really good quarterback. Mac Jones looked real good one week against San Francisco. And Bryce Young, if you give him time, watch him do what he does. And so I like Dylan Brooks, because I like the one – I don't want to hear about the player who everybody was talking about in the offseason because you want to make him a household name. I want a guy that made a name for himself by how he played. And that's what he's doing. Now, he's lost. How did he deal with losing Losing when it's real expectations creates the pressure that either going to make you a diamond, right, or you just going to be a piece of coal. I think the young man is a diamond, and I'll be watching to see how he, matriculates through college football because Oregon is not a powerhouse. They want to know what it's like to be. To be a powerhouse, you got to win it all. Alabama, powerhouse. Georgia, powerhouse. Ohio State, because they're there every year in some capacity. Oregon, right. They got their they doing it right now, but right now you're good enough to be the team that loses to the team. That's what you right now. Y'all have Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota lost to Cam Newton in the national championship, right? Yep. All I'm saying for Dylan Brooks is you either going to propel Oregon as well as the quarterback position to the next level, or they're going to find a way to phase you out. They're going to say it's the system. It's who he's playing. It's not how he's playing. I don't like when that's fair or unfair criticism, but if Shedeur Sanders played for Texas and he played the way Arch Manning was playing, they would lose interest in him. But because Arch Manning is Arch Manning, they like, I mean, he's gonna find it. He's gonna find his rhythm. Dylan Brooks, find your rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Dance to that beat and see if you can get the rest of the world, to listen to your music. Because I like Dylan. I like Dylan Brooks. It's another Dylan. You go from Dylan Gabriel to Dylan Brooks. We'll see if Dylan Brooks got staying power. Because Dylan Gabriel, I mean, he played for everybody. He played for UCF. I mean, he played for Oklahoma. He played for Oregon. He played for anybody that would take him. But right now, he's starting in the National Football League, like it or not. So I think Dylan Brooks got a shot to also, have that type of legacy before it's all said and done.
Ben's got NBA on the mind when he goes from Dante Moore to Dylan Brooks. But we all know what you were saying. But it's a great transition here because as you were saying, there's 4 Alabama quarterbacks that are starting in the NFL, and there's another one that wants to start in the NFL right now, and that's a perfect transition to Alabama beating Missouri 27-24. Give me your thoughts on this game, and also sprinkle in obviously some thoughts on some of the major guys: Ty Simpson, Ryan Williams, Horton, Jam Miller. And then, on the other side, obviously, Ahmed Hardy kind of had a slow one. But just kind of give me your insight on what you saw from this game. And if you think, Missouri can make a comeback and still get in the playoffs. And if Alabama is for real a potential championship threat.
Alabama is for real. Alabama's undefeated since they lost the first game of the season against Florida State. And they bounced back. Look at the team. I mean, look at the resume. You talk about Mizzou. Talk about Vanderbilt. You talk about Georgia. And it's how they're doing it, not that they're doing it. Now, I mean, they definitely made it interesting. Mizzou is a team that doesn't get enough respect because of who they are, not how they play. Eli Drinkwitz is one of the best coaches in college football because he's been there since he got there. I mean, he came from the Sun Belt as well. He came from App State, and you look at what he's doing for Missouri. Missouri is always going to be a team that people are going to look past because they're Missouri, but they can beat anybody. And I mean that realistically. I think Alabama is always playing for something different. They're always playing for 2 things: legacy, right, and reputation. People want Alabama. When Alabama lost week 1, did you see the hell? Oh, my God. DeBoer, he's not the guy. He don't get it. I mean, and look at what they've done since then. Ty Simpson, he's a guy that's on everybody's radar. Is he gonna get a second and third look? Yes. Because to win at Alabama is the hardest position to play at, the hardest school to play at is quarterback at Alabama. Nothing against you, Ohio State. Nothing against you, Michigan or LSU. Everybody's watching the quarterback at Alabama. One, to see, is this going to be a fall off? And can we win because of you, not in spite of you? And they are winning because of Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has to be good, and Ty Simpson has to be great in moments. You don't have to be great all the time. And that's what he's doing. If you are Missouri, if you ever want to know what we were made of, look at how you almost pulled off that win against Alabama. And that's what you want something, because Alabama's still the barometer. I know people want to talk about Georgia, which they are, and Texas, or what these Texas A&M, but Alabama is still the creme de la creme, because no matter what, Alabama says, listen, if we not going to win it all, you're going to have to beat us to do it. You're going to have to come through us to do it. And you know, just like I know, Justin, no one wants to play a confident Alabama. You don't want to do that. Because now they can beat you however you want it. You want it to be running away. You want it to be ugly. You want it to be back and forth. You want it to be a nail biter. And that's what they're doing. Alabama is not going to blow teams out the water anymore, but they are good enough to beat you. And I think that's what make a good team good is when they say good teams got rules, great teams got standards. And Alabama has a standard. And when you play up to it, they don't care how it looks. I mean, who scored the most? Oh, we scored more than them? Okay. And that's all we care about because most people don't watch the game. They watch the highlights. They watch the box scores. The last time I checked, Alabama scored more than Mizzou. If you are Mizzou, though, can you come back and let this just be a one loss and not let it become a snowball effect? You started losing more and more. So I'm very impressed by Mizzou. Most teams in the SEC have never been to the SEC championship game. That's not Mizzou. Mizzou has been there. They have been there. So they got more SEC championship tradition than Mississippi State, than Texas A&M, right? Than Ole Miss, than Vanderbilt, than Arkansas. Even though Arkansas used to go back in the Darren McFadden days. But I was very, very impressed with Mizzou, even though Alabama came out with the win because Mizzou has developed this. We're not going to go quietly into the night type team. We ain't going to just lay down. You're going to beat us, but you're going to have to earn it. And even if you Alabama, you got to earn it.
It's one of the greatest things. The college playoffs has essentially eliminated the early season losses. You know what I mean? Because, in a regular season without the playoffs, Alabama would have already been relegated to like the Orange Bowl or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't be in a national title. They wouldn't be going to the Rose Bowl, none of that stuff. But now we got the playoffs. Alabama has a shot to be the number one team. And they've already lost. You know what I mean? They lost to a Florida State team that might not be ranked anymore. So it's phenomenal. I love the playoff system, and I love it mostly for like the players because I feel like when the players used to not be playing for those big games, they used to just be like undercutting their value immediately once they're not playing for them. So, Ty Simpson, like you said, he's playing phenomenal right now. He's playing like he should be a first-round pick. And, before this season, not a lot of people knew who Ty Simpson was. He was just Jalen Milroe's backup. And now he's in there. A lot of people know who he is, and a lot of people are going to know who he is when he gets called in April. Yep. So it's going to be fun. I always love watching Bama play the SEC because it's just always a slobber knocker either way. Like, whoever they play in there, whether they play Ole Miss, whether they play Georgia, whether they play Auburn, it's just always just good football. Yep. And, talking about Georgia and Auburn, that's our last game for college sec. How'd you like the Georgia-Auburn game? Georgia's run game was kind of non-existent in this one. They had like 3 or 4 running backs get like 20 yards each, including their quarterback. And then on the other side, Auburn just really couldn't get anything going all night long. I do think Jackson Arnold's a good quarterback, but I think maybe he's just maybe a year away. He might be in that class with Arch Manning and Dante Moore. But just give me a quick synopsis on what you saw from the Georgia-Auburn game.
I saw panic from Auburn. I saw patience from Georgia. If Auburn goes up 17-0, 17-0 like in the first half, that's a different game because it forces Georgia to be one-dimensional throwing the football. The thing about Auburn is this. Auburn is a really, really good – Auburn, I want to say a couple of years ago, played Georgia just like this. And you know what they did? They forgot to cover Brock Bowers in the final drive. You forgot to cover Brock Bowers. And that goal line fumble is going to haunt Auburn for the rest of the year because Georgia is one of those teams that say, listen, Georgia says, we're going to give you 5 or 6 plays a game. That if you can capitalize on them, you can find a way to beat us. But if you don't, that was your moment, and you're not going to get it back. Gunnar Stockton is a good quarterback. He's not great. He's a good quarterback. And what Gunnar Stockton does, he says, I'm not going to put us in harm's way. You're talking about 23 or 36, 212 yards, pedestrian type numbers, nothing crazy. The fact that the University of Georgia does not have a solid running game baffles me. For as long as I can remember Georgia, they've always had a running game. We talking about back in the days of Buck Bellew, who had the pledge of handing the ball off, to the greatest running back, all time, Herschel Walker, till my time in Georgia with Quincy Carter, and David Green, and DJ Shockley, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Murray, and the list goes on and on.
Nick Chubb.
It was Nick Chubb. I mean, you talk about Sony Michel. I think the thing now, Justin, is Georgia is winning, right? Until they meet a team that can make them beat them, like Alabama. Alabama says, okay, can Georgia win a shootout against a good team? I say no, not a good one. Auburn is a good team. They're not good enough to beat Georgia, at least not right now. They're building. But if you are Georgia, you should be nervous for this reason. Teams respect Georgia. They ain't afraid of them. They respect them because, they're Georgia. They ain't going to lose a lot of games in the regular season. But Auburn, this was your moment. Hugh Freeze. You needed Hugh Freeze, since you came back to the SEC, you haven't had a signature win yet. This could have been a huge signature win, and it got away. And now, you lose 20-10. You lost all your momentum. I mean, and you scored. You scored 7. No, I'm sorry. You scored all your points in the first half. Georgia scored 17 points in the second half. If you are Kirby Smart, you just saying, listen, we just gonna keep chopping wood. We're gonna keep doing the thing. We're gonna do enough to win games. But here's the thing that Kirby Smart don't want to talk about. Kirby Smart has played Alabama 8 times. He's won 1 time. Yep. He's 1-7. And yes, the one win he did come in the national championship. But Justin, you didn't have both of your starting receivers, because when they played y'all in the SEC championship game, it got ugly. So if you are Georgia, they're saying we want Alabama. They don't really mean it. They're gonna say it. They don't really mean it, because Alabama says, look, they asked Nick Saban and Coach DeBoer, hey man, what are you vacationing at in the offseason? Oh, Athens. Really? Oh yeah, Athens, Georgia. Yeah, I got real estate there. Yeah, it's a real nice little city. They got the Georgia Bulldogs there. I mean, so I feel horrible for Auburn, because so close yet so far away. And if, like I said, if you get that touchdown, you go up 17-3. We talking about a total different game, but they're gonna be scratching. They're gonna be pinching themselves, because you know how it is, Justin. Until you can find a way to get over the hump, beating, one of them upper echelon teams. You listen. Auburn is Auburn now, but they're just not there right now to compete. Not even forget college football playoff berths. They ain't even ready to compete in the SEC, consistently. And I think that's what we saw on Saturday.
100%. And look at Georgia's schedule. They've got a tough schedule. It's like a mix and match. It's like alternating. It's like a cupcake and then a regular, like a ranked team.
They still got Texas. They still got Ole Miss. They still got Georgia Tech. So they and Georgia Tech wants some get back from last year. That was a classic last year. They want some get back. They want some get back.
And they got all the weapons too. Georgia Tech's one of those under the radar teams that could sneak into the playoffs with a big win over Georgia. 100%. Well, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about the NFL, but I know we're pressed for time because we want to get some of the games in this week preview-wise. So I just want to pitch it to you. 4 games. The Giants, Eagles, Bucks, Niners, Falcons, Bills, Kansas City, and the Lions. Which game surprised you the most?
That's easy, man. Philly and the Eagles. Philly and the Giants. Philadelphia is the defending world champs. You got a rookie in Scatterboo. You got a rookie in Scatterboo. You got a rookie in Dart, and they beat up Philly. This wasn't a win. They beat them up. Scatterboo had 3 rushing touchdowns. Jackson Dart had a rushing touchdown and 1 in the air. If you are Philly, you realize it's still early. And if you are the Giants, you're saying, dude, this is how we capable of playing. Yes, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Jackson Dart, Scatterboo and those guys. If you are Philly, though, I don't know, when people say, what's going on in Philly? I say this. What's going on with Saquon Barkley? He's not – they're not giving him the ball like they were. They're not featuring him. Now, he was going to be a focal point in 2025, but he's not even looking halfway normal. I expect him to have a drop-off, but not like this, Justin. I always look at football like this. If I've never seen you play before and I'm watching you play in 2025, I don't want nobody to have to tell me what you did in the previous year. Hey, this guy right here, this guy right here. I was like, you talking about number 44 for the Giants? No, not Scatterboo. He's a rookie. Well, he also got 3 rushing touchdowns against this defense. Now, I know they didn't have Jalen Carter, so you still got Jordan Davis that come. You still got Pro Bowlers and All-Pros all over the defense. The Eagles got an offensive problem, and Ringo, their cornerback on the other side, if Quinyon Mitchell, listen, if Quinyon Mitchell is hurt, because I know you got a hamstring, and Ringo, they're going to attack Ringo until the cows come home because this ain't Georgia. I know if you go to the University of Georgia, you play defense, you're going to probably end up a Philadelphia Eagle or at least get consideration. Ringo going to have to earn his money because that ain't getting it done. And I was extremely impressed by the Giants because you know how it is, Justin, when they put the rookie in, that means, you ain't throwing the season away, but you're like, okay, he's going to. This young man is 2.
You're looking for something. He's
2-1. He's 2-1, and he already beat the Chargers and he beat the Eagles, 2 teams that are looking to be, definitely be playoff teams. I hope they go deep in the playoffs. When you got Rick and Scatterboo, man, he like a little battering ram. This dude, he nice, and so I all 4 of those games are nice, but what stands out the most is definitely Eagles Giants. The Eagles are saying, what is going on with us? And the Giants are saying, we ain't going to just go quietly into the night. We're going to definitely try to compete this season.
You know, it reminded me of the 2023 season when the Eagles were undefeated.
Yep.
And
they fell off.
They played San Francisco and Philly, and San Francisco just hit them straight in the mouth. And then from then on, they just lost all the way up into the playoffs, and they lost to the Bucks. They got eliminated pretty easily by the Bucks. So, my question to you is, because you've been in the locker rooms, you've been around winning teams, you've been around success, how do you handle absolutely, no beating around the bush, getting manhandled by a team that you shouldn't be playing down to their level? How do you handle that going forward? And how do you, you listen to all the news people saying, they had this meeting and then A.J. Brown's just brushing it off like, I don't even know if I was there or whatever, How do you handle the talent and the ego going around the room and kind of rally these guys and say, hey, guys, like you said before, our identity is running the ball. When Saquon is running for 20 times a game, we're winning. It's legitimate in the stats. When they've won every single game, Saquon has rushed for at least 20 times. When they do under, guess what? Guess what the result is? L, a big fat L. How do you get these guys back on track if you're Nick Sirianni? And what's your message to the locker room?
I'm going to tell those guys, man, you guys need to put ego to the side, and you guys got to decide, do you want to be selfish or selfless? We got a bunch of selfish guys on this team right now that football is one of those things, Justin. You don't have to – selfishness and selflessness, you can see it. You don't got to say nothing. And if you are the Eagles, right, no one's going to care what you did. It's what you're doing. Y'all Super Bowl champs, but that was last year, right? And you got to start asking yourself, am I playing team football or am I trying to get my incentives? I know Jalen Hurts do not care about stats. I know Jalen Hurts is all about winning. I know Lane Johnson don't care about stats. I know Lane Johnson is all about winning. Well, that's 2 guys. I don't know about everybody else because when the team is doing well, it's almost like the mistakes get pushed under the rug. But when you start losing, that's when those same mistakes become, you put a magnifying glass on them. If you are Nick Sirianni, you better get a hold because you got a lot of alpha males on that team, all throughout that team, on the D-line, on the O-line, skill position players, linebackers, DBs. You're going to have to get the pulse of the team back real quick because if you lose the locker room, it don't matter what happened on Sunday. Sunday is only a microcosm of what happens in the locker room, what happens on Monday through Saturday. We want to be able to go out there, and I'm not saying that they can't, because you got Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, you got a shot to do it. But Jalen Hurts ain't playing well. Saquon and what he meant to the offense, he made everybody's life easier. Not this year. Teams are saying, number 26, you will not beat us. We are willing to sell out on the run and deal with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert and those guys because what teams are really saying is we're not afraid of Jalen Hurts' arm. Yep. I know his resume is better than most. I know what he's done since he became a starter is better than most. But Justin, when Cam Newton said, I don't consider him a top 10 quarterback and people went crazy, Cam said, look, I am just talking about what he has to do, right? Josh Allen got to play well. Look at what happens when he don't. Joe Burrow, when he's not injured, he has to play well. Look at the Ravens without Lamar. So I think he's saying Jalen Hurts just has to drive this car, right? He don't have to he don't have to do what everybody else do. He don't got to be the mechanic. He don't got to be the guy that wash the car. He don't got to be the guy that make. He just has to drive, and everything else is laid out for him. And when Jalen Hurts is not playing well, and A.J. Brown is putting up cryptic messages on X and trying to downplay it in the media, that's not good because, like I said, you want alpha male energy until it's everywhere. And Nick Sirianni, they pay you to make they don't pay you to make the hard decision. They pay you to make the decision. You better make a decision because if I don't want no Mike McDaniel situation happening down in Miami, because when it happens in the public, and now Tua is doing apologies of saying I made a mistake. You think you made a mistake talking about leadership? So it's still early though. It's gonna be. Either it's going to be an epic 2025 or it's going to be 2023 all over again.
Yep. I 100% agree. And you know what? We kind of, like the Eagles do, need to move on to our next segment, but I'll leave it at this. Nick Sirianni, this is a big point for him.
Yep.
Because for a lot of people, he's never shown that high-end quality of being a head coach. He's always kind of had the benefit of having good coordinators around him.
Yeah.
His GM is an expert at getting at talent.
Yes.
I mean, nonstop talent runs through the Eagles. So this is a big step for him. I mean, I think this is one of those years where you kind of make or break and you go, okay, he got us to a championship, but do we want that energy? Is he bringing the culture that we want into the locker room? But we're going to get on to the next segment. That's what are we watching this week?
Don't worry, Ben. No weddings here. I just want to know what college game to watch this week.
You can tell you're pressed on a time crunch when you're not so smooth in the transitions. But you know what? I'm actually really pumped about this. And I know we don't have too much time, so I only want to talk about these two major games. And the first one, we were just talking about it, Ole Miss and Georgia, baby. So Ole Miss, previous to last year when they put a shellacking on Georgia, had lost 12 in a row. That is just something like you were just talking about. You got to get that monkey off your back.
Yep.
You got to win that big game. And Ole Miss did that. They showed it last year. They won that big game against a former national champion, former back-to-back national champion. How do you like their chances, and how do you like this game playing out?
Oh, man, I like Ole Miss in this game. I mean, I think they're going to come in. Ole Miss has to show that they're not just good in like a sample size of the season, like a short amount of time in the season. Because if you are Georgia, right, Georgia's already lost to Alabama.
Yep.
Georgia lost to Ole Miss last year. Like, ho. Wait a minute. This is a battle of former coordinators. Lane Kiffin used to be the offensive coordinator for Alabama, and obviously, you know, Kirby Smart was the longtime defensive coordinator for Alabama, right? They asked Lane Kiffin, hey, yo, Lane, who you think burned the most calories on the sideline between you and Kirby? He said, well, the last time I seen Kirby, he don't look like he never burned that many calories. Oh, you trying to come at him. You trying to throw a little. I like that Lane. I like that version of Lane Kiffin, by the way. I don't like buttoned up. Don't really want to give you no sound bites, Lane Kiffin. But Lane Kiffin knows this about Georgia. You better find a way to put them away when you got a shot. Because if they got any, if it's still a game in the fourth quarter, that favors Georgia. That does not favor Ole Miss because Ole Miss don't know nothing about the postseason. They don't know nothing about going to Atlanta. They don't know nothing about being in the college football playoff. How do I know? This is the same Ole Miss team that had college football playoff aspirations. Who put them out last year? That would be Florida. With Jackson Dart and company at Florida last year. So if you are Georgia, Georgia cannot afford another SEC loss. And if you are Ole Miss, you don't want to lose to Georgia because people are going to start saying, see, that's why we don't like him. That's Lane Kiffin. He's good, but he can't beat the great ones. Now, he did it last year. Last year was last year. Vanderbilt also beat Alabama last year. What happened this year? So if you're Ole Miss, can you do it twice? Can you beat Georgia twice? Now they got the squad to do it. They got the guys to do it, but you got to do it because Georgia is doing this. Georgia is saying people don't think we as good this year because we ain't got these great offensive guys. No Brock Bowers, no Carson Beck. We don't got guys like that this year. Gunnar Stockton is good, who was able to play well in the SEC championship game last year. So It's gonna be one of the games of the week. I like Ole Miss, but I don't like betting against Georgia.
I like it. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Ole Miss in this one. I really like Lane Kiffin. I thought he got a shitty end of the stick when it came to his NFL stint, but he's really recovered in college and he's really become a staple. And like you were saying, like he's the type of coach you try and invest your program into in the future. I think he stays with Ole Miss going forward, and I think he tries to turn Ole Miss into a real powerhouse. But speaking of powerhouses, Tennessee at Alabama, I'm always a big fan of Tennessee. I like the way that their offense runs, but at the same time, they rarely have defense, and that's kind of what Alabama, I think, is going to be a little bit better at. So I think Alabama being a little bit more balanced is probably going to take it from them. But what do you say on this Tennessee-Alabama game? How exciting is it going to be for you?
Oh, this is going to be the game, and for this reason. Tennessee had every opportunity to beat Georgia this year, but Tennessee showed, man, they just ran out of gas at the end. It was a great game. You talk about overtime. If you are Tennessee, though, this is what you're saying. You're saying, dude, if we want to be taken seriously, we got to beat Alabama. No one can. I know they still got Florida coming up, which that's a different game because they got to play Florida at Florida. But if you are Tennessee, we want to show, hey, man, we can go blow for blow. We can go punch for punch. We can go quarter for quarter with Alabama and find a way to win it in. It's going to be exciting because Alabama hasn't lost since week 1, right? And I think Tennessee only lost. I think the only loss is to Georgia. If you are Tennessee, you saying to yourself again, dude, what type of identity do we have? Are we just a really good offense that can go up and down the field, but we got a defense that can't stop nobody? Or are we a complete team? Because Alabama's complete. Alabama has won every way you need to win, and don't nobody even talk about the Florida State loss no more. It's been that long ago that no one knows who no one is week 1. Do you know my team is in week 1? So if you are Tennessee, Tennessee needs this more than Alabama because Alabama has shown, look, the teams that beat us last year, even though Tennessee was one of them, we beat Georgia again this year. We beat Vanderbilt again this year. We beat a tough Mizzou team again this year. Tennessee, if y'all want to be respected, Coach Heupel and company, beat us. I don't care who you beat us. And I think Tennessee, now they got an offense and a receiver. They built to do it. But when Alabama's going to come into the game with Justin as a game plan, they're going to say, look, just like team, my goal is to take away your best player and see if you got other players. What about your number 2 and number 3 receiver? Can y'all run the ball? It's just like Ole Miss and Georgia is going to be incredible. I think Tennessee and Alabama, it might end up being the game of the week.
I think so. For me, the incredible thing about Tennessee is that they literally traded UCLA's quarterback.
Yeah.
They traded for Joey Aguilar, who nobody even knew who the fuck that was going into the season. Guess what? Everybody knows who he is now, and everybody's kind of forgotten Nico on the other side because he's been so bad at UCLA. So it is a real testament to this Tennessee offense and what they've put around Joey to make him look amazing. Because honestly, you look at him and he's not really like a day 1 draft pick. But sometimes when he's throwing it, he's lobbing it out there, you go, God damn, every one of those wide receivers could be a day 1 prospect if they get into the league. Chris Brazil, oh man, that dude's gonna turn some heads. He's gonna be rising up the stock. He's gonna be rising up that draft board easily. But I think I'm gonna go with Alabama in this one. I just, like you said, it's so hard to discount the Alabama team for the Florida State loss because it was so long ago. They've done so much since. And Tennessee, they missed their chance against Georgia. I really wanted to see them break that streak, but I still think Tennessee is just more offense than balance. And I think that Alabama is going to kind of wear their ass down in this game.
Alabama gonna make you play football. That cute stuff. Nah, dude, we gonna force you to play football. And look, if you came to play, let's play. But you got to play for 4 quarters. No one's gonna care about a one-handed catch in the second quarter. Can you make a play and switch the momentum in the fourth? That's what Alabama is. And if Tennessee is built for 4 quarters, it should be one to watch. If not, you will be watching. Just look out for the Alabama post game in the locker room. They're gonna be firing up them cigars. Every time they beat Tennessee, they fire up the cigars. That's a tradition at Alabama, man. It goes back a long ways.
Hell yeah. I wish I could fire up a cigar right now. I'm so fucking pumped for that game. But let's move on to some NFL picks. I want to start off with, first off, give me a quick synopsis on what you're feeling about the Rams and the Jaguars. Looking like a good game. Two teams, we thought the Rams were going to be good. They obviously lost Puka, which probably, it's going to be okay because Devontae's still there. And then the Jaguars obviously surprising us with the Chiefs game, but then really surprising us last week, just, flopping around against the Seahawks. Didn't really get it going until late. How are you looking at this game?
I'm looking at this game as a bounce back, hopefully for the Jaguars. I mean, Puka Nacua not being in the lineup is going to hurt. I mean, he was leading the league, I want to say, in catches.
Everything.
He's one of the best receivers. He's a top 5 receiver. I mean, he just finds a way to get open. And, Matthew Stafford still finding a way to get it done. I'm excited to see this Jaguar team for this reason. What are they doing with Travis Hunter on offense? What are they doing? Did
you hear the scoop today?
No.
So Liam Cohen actually, when he did his press conference, said he is officially putting into his book plays where he's going to be the first read.
I mean, that sounds good. That sounds good. But here's the thing. The only routes I am seeing he caught the one deep route against Kansas City. We're talking about quick outs. We're talking about screen. Stop. You don't throw Travis Hunter a screen. Push him down let him push. Listen, let him run intermediate to deep routes and throw it to him. I mean, he's one of the best athletes on the field, and it's embarrassing because, number one, they kind of use him a little bit on offense. They've been taking him out the field on defense. I mean, I think he only played like 20 snaps against Seattle. What Trevor Lawrence better make sure he better make sure he get the ball out quick, because that D-line, one in particular for the Rams, he is coming, Trevor. So get the ball out. But it's always to see how they gonna use Trevor Lawrence. Is Brian Thomas Jr. Is he gonna have a case of the drops? Because he's been playing well a lot of times. You don't know, it's iffy. And this Jaguars defense is good enough to keep him in the game. It's gonna be one of the games of the weekend. But people are still asking, when Travis Hunter's asked, why are they working you into the offense, saying, look, man, all I do is run plays. They call plays, man. You're going to have to talk to Liam Cohen and the OC, because I'm just out there trying to make plays when my number is indeed called.
I love it. I completely agree. I don't know why he is not red zone threat number 1 with all the drops that Thomas has had.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say it here, he made Shedeur Sanders look much better than I thought Shedeur Sanders really was. But let's move on to Philly and Minnesota. This is a good game because not only is it a Carson Wentz revenge game, possibly if J.J. McCarthy sits out one more week, but we kind of get Philly in a position where they're going to it's beneficial for them to run the ball rather than pass because of Brian Flores' defense. It's going to be interesting to see what path they decide to take in this one, because I think it's going to be really, like we were just talking about, indicative of whether they win or lose. Because I think if they try and gun it with the Vikings, they're going to turn it over. They're going to give the ball over to whoever is throwing to Justin Jefferson, and Justin Jefferson's going to make shit happen 100%. So just give me what your lowdown is on this game, how you're looking at this game, and what you're excited about.
I'm excited to see Philly get back out there to try to get that ugly taste against the Giants out of their mouth. But I don't know if this is a good opponent to go up against. I think Minnesota is like a mirror of what the Philadelphia Eagles are. I mean, you talk about Carson Wentz, he's not Jalen Hurts, but you talk about Jordan Addison, right? You talk about Justin Jefferson, you talk about T.J. Hawkins, you talk about Aaron Jones. Didn't we say the DBs for the Philadelphia Eagles are struggling right now? They are gonna come at them. Jordan Addison, I mean, he finally back in the lineup, after being out. Justin Jefferson does what Justin Jefferson does. Just give him a shot. He probably arguably 1A, 1B, depending on who you talk about, him or Jamar Chase. And Carson Wentz is rubbing his hands together, saying, y'all want him over me? Cool. I get it. Go out there, and he knows some of these guys, not all of them. I just think that if Philadelphia can't establish the run and they can't find a way to get off the field on third down on defense, this could be a long day for Philly, because Minnesota is a better team than the Giants. It's just the Giants are a division foe, and they said, look, man, we just got to to keep pace in the division. We got to find a way to beat those guys. Philly is the better team, but Minnesota says, yeah, but this ain't 2024. It's 2025. They can't. Once again, the banners has already been let down in Lincoln Financial. So I'm going to take Minnesota because I just think that what Minnesota's going to do, they're going to put pressure on Jalen Hurts. They're going to force him to get the ball out quick. They're going to find a way to shut down Saquon Barkley. Every other team has. They're going to make him one-dimensional, and I think that plays into the hands of Minnesota because Minnesota is going to find a way to be balanced on offense. They got a really, really good defense, and they find a way. They looking at their division too, saying, "Man, we got a Detroit, even though they had a." They had a little hiccup against Kansas City. We got to deal with Green Bay. Chicago's playing well, and we talking about this is a tight division. We can't be losing to teams like Philly, even if a lot of people had them having a better record right now than they have with 6 games in.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna go with the Vikings as well. I think you really hit it. I mean, listen, Brian Flores. He is so going to be on what's going to be going down in this game. He knows he's got to stack the boxes when he needs to, and he knows his guys can play coverage. And I think that's the best part is he knows he can stack the box and still let his dudes go out there and play coverage because, like you said before, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the greatest arm. He doesn't have the greatest connection right now with A.J. Brown. And him and Devonta Smith, I always thought Devonta Smith was more of like the secret weapon than anything else, but there's a lot of times when he's just throwing 10 balls to A.J. Brown and leaving Devonta Smith out there hanging with like maybe 2 or 3. And you're like, dude, that guy over there might actually be better as a route runner than your boy over here. And that's a fact. I mean, A.J. Brown, he's a damn good wide receiver, damn good deep threat. But if you're looking for just short field relevance, I'm taking Devonta Smith all day long. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a really close matchup, and I think the Eagles, unfortunately, are going to go down 2 games in a row. Let's get 2 more in. I want to talk because this is an interesting one. It's interesting because of the relevance behind these 2 teams getting good. Indy's up there and the Chargers, 2 teams that, a year ago were – well, I mean, the Chargers were a playoff team, but they kind of seemed like an irrelevant playoff team after that playoff loss to the Texans. And then Indy, who was going through Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco. Now they found Indiana Jones, and they're doing some great things out there. What do you think about this game right here? It's kind of 2 teams that maybe haven't played the best competition, but they have good records, and they're both looking towards the playoffs right now.
This is going to be the best contender and pretender game. I think that the Colts are contenders. I really, really do. I think Indiana Jones is doing his thing right now because he's saying, look, they're not going to, I'm in a position to win the games for him. I just can't lose the game for us. Jonathan Taylor helps with what he's doing running the football. Tyler Warren, a lot of people have him as the number 1 tight end right now with what he's doing as a rookie coming out of freaking Penn State. And they got a defense. They got a defense that can put some pressure on you. Here's the thing about the Chargers. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen still finding ways to go out there and make plays. Him and McClunky. I mean, both of your running backs are down out right now. I think for the Chargers, they're gonna have to show people they're more than just a bunch of big names because you beat Kansas City first game of the year. People like these dudes are for real. Then you lose to Jackson Dart's first start. You lose to Jackson Dart, right? I think the thing about the Chargers is this: are the Chargers for real, or is this what we saw? We've been seeing this since the Phillip Rivers days. A lot of big numbers, a lot of big names, no big wins. They're not gonna do much. And Kansas City is showing y'all we're not going away. I know y'all thought we're not going away. Denver is finding a way, to win games. And the Raiders, I mean, they beat the Titans, but does that even count? So I just think that for the Chargers, they need this win more than Indy because I think Indy's going to run away with this division, take nothing away from what Jacksonville is doing and what Houston is going to do. For the Chargers, if you can't beat relevant teams, just like we said, no one's going to remember the Kansas City win. It didn't even happen in the States. It happened in Brazil. So can you win in America? Because we know what you can do in Brazil against Kansas City. Can you win in the States? Indiana Jones is playing out of his mind right now, and Indiana Jones lets you know that a change of scenery does wonders for a quarterback. The Baker Mayfields of the world, you're talking about the Sam Darnolds of the world. Whenever you give me the right team, right scheme, and right environment, watch me go out there and do what I do. And that's what Indiana Jones, his name is Indiana Jones. That man got a nickname. I'll take it. And I am going with the Colts.
So I don't know if you do any fantasy football at all, but on Sleeper, which is a fantasy football app, they mess around with like people's photos and stuff like that, and they have him all in the Indiana Jones getup and everything. It is phenomenal. Everybody's sinking into it. I love it, and I absolutely agree with you. I think you got to look at the Colts right now. I look at the Colts as this summation of great parts that were missing a quarterback, and now they have a quarterback, and everything's going good. Like last year, everybody was like, "Oh, the defense sucks," but well, maybe the defense sucked because they had to be on the field for like more than 50% of the game. You know what I mean? And, Michael Pittman's getting more involved. Michael Pittman's a great wide receiver. Tyler Warren has been one of the steals of the draft. Jonathan Taylor's been doing Jonathan Taylor stuff. And once you get all that stuff clicking, you realize the Colts did really have it. They just had, unfortunately, a quarterback issue, which goes back to what you said, previously. I want to see 20 games out of this guy. Anthony Richardson, we only saw 10.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the most impressive 10. It was just he had a monster arm.
Yes.
We all thought he could be Josh Allen incarnate. But you know what? Like, I praised what the Colts have done. They literally went out there. They said, hey, we're going to put it all on the table. We're going to get this guy Danny Dimes and make him look great. And they're making New York look bad right now for getting rid of him too early. And our final game, you mentioned him before, Baker Mayfield looking like the MVP out there versus Detroit. Damn, this is going to be fireworks. Damn, honestly, I'm a 49ers fan. I wish this was Sunday Night Football because I want to close the week on this freaking game. This deserves to be in that Sunday night spot. It just give me all your thoughts on this game. This game should be a lot of fun. Detroit's, they're coming off the Kansas City loss. Yeah. Obviously, they're not going to let that sink in. Gibbs is way too good. Amon-Ra is way too good. It's just give me your thoughts on this game. Who you got?
I agree with you. Baker Mayfield is looking like the clear-cut MVP right now.
Yeah.
What's making Baker Mayfield, I know, AKA I woke up feeling dangerous. What makes him good is he says, listen, no Mike Evans, no Godwin, no Ibuki. And he says, but I feel good with who we have. And that's, what that does if you're a third, fourth, fifth receiver on the roster and you hear Baker Mayfield saying, dude, I ain't treating y'all no different than I'm going to treat them. You get open, I'm going to get you the rock. But he's about to run into a problem, and the problem is going to be Detroit. Let me tell you something. Detroit is the persona of and the makeup of a Dan Campbell. They ran into a buzzsaw against Kansas City, and Kansas City said, man, we need y'all to y'all must have forgot who we are now. Because what Kansas City did, they said, look, we're going to shut down the run game, the two-headed monster run game. We're going to shut down Amon St. Brown, and you can't beat us. Detroit cannot beat you if Amon St. Brown is neutralized and Gibbs and Montgomery is neutralized. The Bucs don't have nobody to do that. You don't have nobody to shut down Montgomery and Gibbs and Amon St. Brown and James and Laporte. Laporte only needs one freaking hand to score touchdowns in the back of the end zone. I think Detroit bounces back. I think it's going to be a good game. Featuring two former number one overall picks in Jared Goff, right, and Baker Mayfield, two guys that are not on the teams that drafted them, two guys that landed in incredible spots in Detroit. Detroit has the best culture right now in the AFC North, and obviously the Bucs are runaway the best culture in the NFC South. I like Detroit because I don't see Detroit going back-to-back losses, and I think Detroit's the same way Kansas City reestablished themselves with Detroit. Detroit is going to reestablish themselves and put the reset button, push the reset button again against the Bucs. But the premier pass rusher in the National Football League, not named Myles Garrett, not named Max Crosby, and not named Michael Parsons, is Aiden Hutchinson. All right, Aiden Hutchinson can take a game over. This dude is all over the field. Love the way he plays football. Amon-Ra St. Brown reminds me of Steve Smith Sr., who used to play for Carolina and the Ravens. This dude don't like nobody. But I think good game now because Baker Mayfield is nice. But I just think Detroit finds a way to get a big win against a Bucs team that's playing out of their mind right now.
It was so tough to watch the 49er game last week. And it was mostly because I found myself cheering for Baker. And I was just like, he would make some plays, and I'd be like, God damn, how can you not like that? That dude's just a football player.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, when he broke that tackle, like he should have been sacked twice, and he broke it for a 15-yard gain. I was just like, I can't even be mad at that. Like, that's just a good football play. That dude just wants it more.
Yeah, right.
But you know what? Nobody wants this show more than the people that are watching right now, and they're waiting for the one thing, the finish, the coup de grace of no weddings in the fall. I'm gonna give it to Ben in a second. Tune in every single Friday, every single Sunday for TSS Fantasy and catch us on That Sports Network. Well, it's time for our conclusion to no weddings in the fall. That's right. It's the Ben Skadoo.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for Ben Troupe's Skadoop of the Week.
What's up, my good people? I am Ben Troupe. Make sure you always like, sharing, and subscribing. This is No Weddings in the Fall. Well, man, look, we just try to come on and have a little fun, talk all things football. But before I get out of here, I just got to say something. Brian Callahan who just got fired as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. The reason why he got fired was for this reason. When you don't have a scheme, you don't have a team. And when you don't have a scheme for your offense, that's what makes the entire team bad. He was a guy that came in for what he does on the offensive side of the ball. You know what makes the offense easy is when you cater to your quarterback. You cater to his skill set. You cater to what he does well. You don't make him fit. You fit him. Every quarterback in the league that is balling right now, every offensive coordinator has one thing in common. They're asking that quarterback, what do you like? Andy Reid is going to ask Patrick Mahomes, what do you like? Jared Goff, what do you like? Baker Mayfield, what do you like? And so on and so forth. All these offensive gurus that got these super duper wordy plays that ineffective, that don't mean anything, you're going to find yourself in the unemployment line. Still getting checks, by the way. But if you want to win, right, get a good team. If you want to win consistently, get a good quarterback. And if you want to win it all, get an offensive coordinator that caters to a quarterback. Because every time the quarterback that wins every year, the offensive coordinator and the quarterback got one thing in common. They on the same page. I am Ben Troupe. This is No Weddings in the Fall. I got plenty of baby powder. Don't let me catch you slipping.